"She's not the one," Caelum growled. Ilyana's hands were shaking, not because he left, but because he didn't even ask why she came. The sonogram was still in her purse. Twins. And now, 3 years later, they're standing behind her in the checkout line, while their father bags groceries 2 aisles away. He doesn't recognize them. Not yet. But he's about to. Welcome back, my beautiful family and friends. Happy new month of February to every single one of you. I truly missed you all. It's been a challenging season with some technical issues, but by God's grace, everything is falling back into place. Thank you for standing by me. Your love and support mean more than I can say. Before we begin, I want to say a short prayer over you. To the women, may God strengthen you, comfort you, and surround you with peace and favor. Oh, to the men, may God guide your steps, bless your hustle, and give you wisdom in all you do. And may God's protection rest on us all. Amen. If you're happy to be here in this new month, hit subscribe, and please wish me a happy new month in the comments. I'll be reading them all. Also, tell me where you're watching from, my USA and UK family. I see you make sure you watch till the end, because tomorrow's story is one you definitely don't want to miss. Now, let's get into the story, and what happens next will destroy the world he built to replace her. Ilyana didn't cry when she packed. She just took the ultrasound and the leather journal and left the diamond behind. The diamond ring, cushion cut, flawless, worth more than the car she drove to his first investor pitch, sat in its velvet box on the edge of the bathroom sink, sold under the soft glow of designer sconces. It hadn't been on her finger in weeks. She didn't need it anymore. Outside, La Jolla glittered with oceanfront perfection. The Pacific stretched endlessly from the balcony, all silver blue and silent. But inside the penthouse, it was all quiet chaos, her hands folding clothes with mechanical precision, the zipper of her overnight bag slicing through memory after memory. She didn't pack everything, just enough to disappear. Flashbacks came in strange bursts. The first one, 3 a.m. in a cramped kitchen, Caelum slumped over a spreadsheet, hands shaking, eyes bloodshot. Ilyana handed him coffee, even though she'd barely slept herself. "You'll figure it out," she'd whispered, fingers brushing his wrist. "You always do." He didn't believe in himself then, but she did. Second, his first investor pitch, where he forgot to unmute his mic. She fixed it. She always fixed it. She was his home base, his filter, his north, until ambition made her irrelevant. Now, he didn't even ask why she came to the office, didn't notice the manila envelope in her hands, never saw the sonogram. "She's not the one," he'd said like it was a business memo. He thought the one meant leverage, legacy, a last name that opened doors before introductions were made, not love. By midnight, the suitcase was zipped. She stared at their wedding photo on the dresser, taken under a eucalyptus tree at Balboa Park, just the two of them. No crowd, no performance. She'd worn a linen dress from a thrift shop. He said she looked like something he didn't deserve. She smiled at the irony. The Uber driver didn't ask questions, just helped her with the bag and adjusted the mirror. La Jolla blurred behind her, clean streets, glass mansions, a world that had measured her and found her lacking. The city swallowed the skyline in silence. She checked into a boutique hotel downtown under the name Isla Monroe. One room, no balcony, no ocean view, just peace. She sat on the bed, pulled out the ultrasound and stared at it again. 2 heartbeats, twin miracles. Tiny flickers that had no idea how close they'd come to being born into a world where they were footnotes to someone's empire. Number, not her babies. They would never beg for love, never shrink themselves to be acceptable. She picked up her phone and called the one person she trusted, Dr. Simone Clark, her OB at Scripps Memorial Hospital, La Jolla. Simone, it's me. I'm keeping them. A pause. And then Simone's warm voice. Ilyana, where are you? I can't say, just, can we do this privately, off record? Another pause. Then, I know someone. We'll make it work. You won't do this alone. Tears finally burned at the corners of her eyes, but she blinked them away. I know I won't, she whispered, hand resting on her stomach. She opened her laptop, logged into an account she hadn't touched in 4 years. Aunt Margot's trust. $12 million. She'd never told Caelum about it, not because she was hiding it, but because back then they both believed money didn't define them. She activated the transfer, moved it to a new account under the Monroe name, booked a long-term rental with a private garden near Balboa Park. Quiet, hidden. It was enough to disappear forever. If you're listening right now, I helped me prove something wrong. My mother said I wouldn't even reach 1,000 subscribers, but I believe stories like this deserve to be heard. Help me show her that these tales matter. Morning came too early. Ilyana walked through a local farmer's market with sunglasses and her hoodie pulled low. She bought strawberries, a bottle of ginger tea, and stopped at a stall with handmade journals. She ran her fingers over a leather-bound one, the exact kind her mother had used. The vendor smiled. You a writer? Something like that, she said softly. She would write every detail down for the twins. Not for revenge, for truth. One day, when they asked who their father was, she wouldn't lie, but she wouldn't glorify him either. She'd tell them that their lives didn't begin in betrayal. They began in choice. 3 weeks later, she met Simone at a side entrance of Scripps Memorial. No press, no questions. 2 nurses she'd never seen before walked her to a private suite. Clean linens, low light, jazz humming from a speaker. Safe. The twins were strong, healthy. 1 boy, 1 girl, Rowan and Ilyana. She held them both in her arms that first night, her body aching, heart full, and whispered, You don't need a father to define you, just someone who shows up. Back at the hotel, her wedding ring still sat in the drawer. She didn't take it when she moved out. Didn't sell it either. She left it right where he could find it. Because some goodbyes don't need words, only silence. She booked the long-term rental under Caelum Monroe, 6 months prepaid. Private entrance, no connections to Caelum Rothmere, no forwarding address, no trail, no regrets. She's never coming back. You did what you had to, Caelum, Verity whispered, brushing invisible lint off his lapel. Now let me show you what we can become. The Seaport Village ceremony had cost more than his first investment round. Custom orchids flown in. Champagne that had aged longer than most of the guests had been alive. Caelum stood at the altar in a hand-stitched tuxedo, his name now tied to Langford real estate empire like it was written into the stone. Magazines called it a merger made in heaven. Stock analysts called it a strategic alignment. Caelum called it quiet. Too quiet. Back at the newly redesigned penthouse in La Jolla, the memories were gone. Verity had replaced everything Ilyana ever touched. Furniture, curtains, even the scent of the soap. The soft blue chair Ilyana used to read in. Donated. The thrift store photo frame that held their wedding picture. Burned. This is what power looks like, Verity had said. But Caelum couldn't shake the cold. He stopped opening drawers, afraid of finding her handwriting, or worse, realizing it was truly gone. Some nights he drank alone, staring at the city lights and wondering, did she ever think about him? Did she miss the sound of his voice? Did she still wear the ring? He told himself it didn't matter, that he'd built something better. But in his dreams, she came back, always barefoot, always holding a child, sometimes 2. They never spoke. If you've ever watched someone walk away because you didn't know how to hold them, don't miss what happens next. The toddler's toy rolled toward him in the Ralph's parking lot. Caelum bent down, picked it up, then froze. Two little feet were running toward him. A boy with thick, dark curls and a pouty scowl that mirrored his own childhood photos. A girl trailed behind, clutching a juice box, her eyes a color he'd only ever seen once before. Ilyana. He didn't breathe. Couldn't. And then she appeared, hair tied back, loose linen dress, calm as ever, like she hadn't shattered his world in silence. She scooped the toy from his hand without looking at him. "Come on, Rowan. Ilyana, stay close," she said, her voice softer but unmistakable. Rowan. Ilyana. Westbrook. His gaze dropped to the diaper bag slung over her shoulder, neatly embroidered in cursive. Westbrook family. The weight of it hit him like a freight train. Twins. His twins. She never told him. Ilyana glanced up for a moment. Their eyes met, but she didn't flinch, didn't stumble. She simply nodded, polite, detached, and turned away. Caelum stood there, still holding the toy, heart pounding in a rhythm he didn't recognize. His driver said something. He didn't hear it. He watched them walk toward a silver Honda, buckle in and drive away like ghosts that had decided to live without him. Back in the car, he canceled his board meeting. "Where to, sir?" the driver asked. Caelum stared at the road ahead. "Find her." 3 years, Caelum whispered, eyes locked on the grainy Ralph's CCTV footage. He paused it, zoomed in. There she was, blurry but unmistakable. Ilyana, 2 kids, 1 boy, 1 girl. And no one knew. He leaned back, jaw tight. This wasn't a coincidence. This was a secret she chose to carry alone. The next day, a private investigator slid a folder across his desk. Birth records. I. Scripps Memorial. Delivered under the name Isla Monroe. No father listed. Both children healthy. Names Rowan and Ilyana Westbrook. Caelum's hands trembled as he flipped through hospital documents, ultrasounds, discharge notes. A photo of her exiting the clinic, exhausted but glowing. Alone. She's been living quietly, the PI added. Rents a bungalow near Balboa Park. Runs a non-profit for single mothers. Keeps to herself. Kids aren't in daycare. No traceable co-parents or dating history. Of course not. She didn't just leave him. She erased him. Meanwhile, Ilyana felt it. A shift in the air. A lingering presence near the park. A black car parked too long outside her gate. She changed their walking route. Told the twins not to talk to strangers. Watched them more closely. Held them more tightly. She'd built this life brick by brick, but some pasts don't stay buried. 2 days later, just after sunset, a knock echoed through her small porch. She opened the door slowly. It was him. If this story has made you wonder what truth's silence protects, it's time to see what happens next. "Why didn't you tell me?" Caelum's voice cracked, the words barely holding shape. Ilyana stood in the doorway of her living room, arms crossed over her chest. Calm, guarded. "Because you left," she said quietly, before they even had a name. He stepped forward, eyes pleading. "You should have told me. I had a right to know." She cut him off. "No, Caelum, you had a choice, and you made it." Silence fell heavy between them. "I wasn't trying to punish you," she said, her voice trembling now. "But the man who looked me in the eye and told me I wasn't the one. He wasn't someone I could trust with something this pure." Caelum swallowed hard. "I could have changed." "But you didn't," she said. "You measured everything by strategy, value, what could elevate your name. I wouldn't let you do that to them." His gaze dropped. He had no defense. "You saw them and thought about what you lost," Ilyana whispered. "But I see them every day and think about what I protected." He opened his mouth. No words came. And then soft footsteps. Ilyana, in her tiny pajamas, wandered into the room with a teddy bear under one arm. She stopped in front of him, her little brow furrowed. clung to Ilyana's leg. "Mama," she asked, pointing, "who's that man?" "If that broke something inside you, keep watching. This isn't over yet." "You're emotionally compromised," Verity sneered, standing at the edge of their marble kitchen island. "This family, my father, we made you." Caelum stared at her, jaw tight. "No, I built everything. You just sold the illusion." She laughed, sharp, cold. "You think walking away from us is noble? You walk away from me, you walk away from the investors, the board, your name." "I saw her," he said. "And the twins." Verity's smile vanished. "So this is what it's about? Some ghost of a girl who disappeared?" "No," Caelum said quietly. "It's about a woman who never asked me to prove anything, just to be someone." Verity stepped closer, venom in her eyes. "Don't be stupid. My father gave you credibility. We launched you into rooms you were never meant to enter." "And what did you take in return?" he snapped. "My name, my soul, a childless marriage that looked good in magazines." The silence that followed said everything. She didn't deny it. Within days, the empire began to fracture. Investor calls went unanswered. Board seats were reassigned. His keycard stopped working at the penthouse gate. He watched movers box up his life, again. This time there were no orchids, no celebration, just truth. He packed a single duffel and stared at the modest bungalow address written in Ilyana's handwriting. He was ready to knock again. But would she open the door this time? Caelum sat on the edge of the playground bench, suit jacket folded beside him, sleeves rolled to his elbows. Rowan fell, skinned his knee, and for the first time, Caelum ran toward him. Not a nanny, not a security guard, just him. He scooped Rowan up, held him close, whispered, "It's okay, buddy. I've got you." Rowan didn't cry long. He just blinked up at him, surprised, like he hadn't expected comfort from this man. Visitation started slow, short afternoons, always with Ilyana nearby, not hovering but watching. The twins were cautious. Ilara clung to Ilyana's leg for the first 3 visits. Rowan refused to speak to him unless prompted, but Caelum didn't flinch. He read to them. Where the Wild Things Are became their shared favorite. He learned how Rowan liked exactly 3 ice cubes in his apple juice, how Ilara hated when her socks didn't match. He made mistakes, fumbled through diaper bags and snack pouches. But he never left. Not this time. One afternoon, Rowan tugged at his sleeve and said softly, "Thank you, Mr. Rothmere." Caelum smiled, then cried later, alone in his car. Weeks passed. Walls softened. On the twins' 3rd birthday, they gathered in Ilyana's modest backyard. Cupcakes, balloons, a hand-painted sign that read, "3 cheers for 3 years." Ilara climbed into his lap, icing on her nose. She looked at him, really looked, then whispered, "Daddy." "You can come in," Ilyana said from the doorway, her voice steady, "but only as someone who loves them, not as someone who lost them." Caelum didn't move for a second. He just stood there, holding the stuffed giraffe Rowan had dropped last week, his hands shaking like the day he lost everything. But somehow this moment felt heavier, because this time there was no deal to close, no empire to protect. Only 2 small hearts he was begging to be part of. 3 days later, the news broke. Caelum Rothmere had sold his controlling interest in Rothmere Corp. Oh, no press tour, no press statement. Just a quiet line buried at the bottom of a financial column. Sources close to Rothmere say the former CEO has chosen to step away for personal reasons. But what came next wasn't quiet. Caelum stood in front of a small room at a non-profit gala hosted by Ilyana's foundation. No suit, no speechwriters, just a mic in one hand and regret in the other. "I made decisions that looked impressive on paper," he told the room, but they cost me everything that made me human. He didn't mention Ilyana by name, or the twins, but everyone watching understood. I'm not here to ask for forgiveness, he finished. I'm here to earn the right to show up, again and again, because love shouldn't need leverage. That weekend, they walked along La Jolla Cove. The twins ran ahead, chasing seagulls, I barefoot and wild with laughter. Ilyana walked beside him, not close, but not far. There was space between them, but it wasn't empty. It was rebuilding. She hadn't said she forgave him. She may never say it, but she was letting him stay. And in this new chapter, that was more than enough. Ilyana tugged at Caelum's hand as they stood by the water. She looked up at him with a proud, toothy smile and said, "We don't need a mansion." He laughed, wiping a tear he didn't expect. "We just need you." If this story gave you chills, it's because some truths are too real to ignore. Don't miss the next one. Subscribe, not for me, but for the stories that remind us what love costs and what it saves. I truly appreciate you watching this story to the very end. If you enjoyed it, you're going to love what's next. It's wilder, more emotional, and impossible to predict. Click the image on your screen now to continue, and subscribe to join our growing family and stay connected to every new story.